What is up, people? The internet, it is me, Real American Politics, back in with a new video. And today, it is time that we do the first 2024 Democrat primary presidential prediction. I know, we're multiple years out from the primary. We just got done with the midterm. We have a runoff incoming in Georgia. But just like the Republican primary prediction, I wanted to create a baseline and go from there. So every couple months or so, we'll be doing a primary prediction, mostly of the first four states before we really get into the meat and potatoes of the primary, which is going to be in February, March, April of 24. But the primary is really starting to kick off already. But this next summer, we're going to really see who's actually running and all this good stuff. So that's why you see three candidates that I do think will run. I have this suspicion that Biden will not run. I just have this feeling he's not going to. Yes, Democrats did better than expected in the midterms, but you look at where they did better than expected, that's not going to hold. There's a lot of House seats that they won. They really shouldn't have won. That's just flat out the facts. Now, before we continue, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash that like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the Twitter account in the description down below, and join the channel today. That is right, folks, for just 10 cents a day, you could join Real American Politics, only 10 cents a day. That's phenomenal deals that help support the daily content. We all love that daily content. So I hope you join today. All right, folks. Let's get into it. So like I said in the intro, I have this suspicion that Biden will not run again. I just think his health is getting too bad. It's getting even hard for them to hide it. I mean, 2020, they could have kind of hid it because he was in his basement for 90% of the election. But now he's the president and, well, it's not looking pretty. So I do think there will be three main candidates that will run in 2024. As of now, this is going to change, I guarantee it. But I think the main three are going to be Pete Buttigieg, yes, the Secretary of Transportation, one of the worst we've ever had, Kamala Harris, the VP, another terrible one, and Gavin Newsom, the Governor of California. It's looking like he's setting himself up for a run. I mean, he's spent a lot of ad money in Florida promoting himself. I mean, he's going to Iowa and stuff. It's like, okay, this guy is running. So I think these three are going to be the big three. There will be a couple others that probably do run, but we just got to see. And things are absolutely going to change. I mean, Nevada may be the first caucus in 24. I mean, I think Nevada may actually be changed to a primary. I don't know for sure. But we're going to go in the order of 2020, all right? Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, and the great state of South Carolina. So things are going to change. But let's get into it. This is a baseline, so we can compare and contrast from a year or so in the future. So let's start in the great state of Iowa. Now, in the Iowa caucus in 2020, anybody with a brain would realize Sanders got shafted. That's the best way to describe it. Do I gotta say much about what happened? I mean, the Democrat Party used that shitty, phone app that, well, it didn't work. It did not work whatsoever, and, well, it was a disaster. Nobody knew who the winner was. Buttigieg did technically win it, but you start looking at some of these results, it's like something very shady happened. And I do think, however, Buttigieg has the strongest base in Iowa. He was able to, do good with those moderate, centrist, well, quote-unquote moderate Democrats. That's what he was able to do good with. I mean, a lot of those Biden voters that they realized, okay, there's something up with him. Pete Buttigieg is our best shot to beat Sanders. It's a lot of those more, moderate, they're still left-wing, obviously. I mean, there's moderate Democrats, it's kind of oxymoron. But there still are a good chunk of, blue-collar, moderate Democrats. But I still think Harris is going to struggle bad. This is going to be one of those states where she is not going to do that good at all. So I think that Buttigieg is going to win the Iowa caucus. I think Newsom actually takes second here. This is a state that Newsom is going to have some serious strength in. And I think Buttigieg takes first. As for Harris, she takes, I think, dead last. For being the incumbent VP, she's not going to do good in Iowa. Buttigieg already has a base here. And Newsom, he's going to kind of do good with, like, everybody. There's really not one group that he's going to do terrible with. Well, there is one, but we'll get to South Carolina for that one. So that's going to be the thing with this primary. It's going to be very similar to 2020, what happened. First couple of primaries, Biden, aka Harris in this situation, they're going to crap themselves in the first couple. They're not going to do good at all in these early states. While Buttigieg and Newsom, they're going to pick up serious steam. So New Hampshire, again, this is more than likely going to be the first primary of 2024, but we just got to see it because things can absolutely happen. Now, here's the thing about this state. Bernie Sanders only won the New Hampshire primary because A, the club surge, and B, he's from Vermont, which is right next to New Hampshire. That's the only reason Bernie Sanders won the state of New Hampshire. If it wasn't for that, this would have been Buttigieg's one election to lose. If he was the front runner, I should say Bernie Sanders was on the ticket, Buttigieg would have been the nominee in 2020. It just would have been a fact, even with some bad performances in a few states. So I think this is another state that Buttigieg has a significant advantage over everybody. Harris is going to just do bad. There's a serious shot that Newsom, or I should say Harris, doesn't even get the 15% threshold, which may change. I don't know if they're keeping that or not, but she's going to be very close to the edge of, is she even going to reach the threshold? I do think at the end of the day, there's a lot of voters like Klobuchar voters that would have voted for Biden, or some Tom Steyer voters maybe, that would have voted for Biden. A lot of these Biden voters, they're more than likely going to support Harris. And I do think at the end of the day, Harris would still make that threshold. There's not going to be 500 candidates like there were in 2020. I don't expect there to be, at least. But I think Harris still reaches that threshold. But Pete Buttigieg, I do think, would get the victory in New Hampshire. Though I think it's going to be a bit closer. I mean, it's not going to be as close as Iowa, but I think it's going to be closer than people would expect. So that's that for the first two states. And at this point, if you're the Harris campaign, you'll be sounding the alarm like, oh gosh, here we go again. Like, we're in deep trouble. But look to the next two states. And this is why I do think that if Harris is the, Democrat candidate for Biden, or if it's Biden, Harris, Biden, whatever, if they're running, they're more than likely to be the nominee. Why? Look at the two next states, Nevada and South Carolina. If you don't know, these two states, let's just say it didn't go so well for Buttigieg. Nevada, he did get 15% of the vote here, but Biden did better here. And this was when everybody thought he was done. Dead on arrival, there's no shot of him winning. But, well, he did pretty solid. I mean, he surprised a lot of people with how good he did in the primary. But unironically, I think this is going to be a state that Newsom would actually do kind of good in. This is a state that Newsom has some strengths with Hispanics, at least. It's more so like the other two candidates suck with Hispanic voters. But I think Newsom just sucks the least with these type of voters, that you would see something like this. Buttigieg, I think, actually takes last year. Newsom would come very close to losing, but I do think at the end of the day, Newsom would carry Nevada, barely, but I do think he would, mostly because there is a significant Hispanic population. He's not going to do as bad with Hispanics such as Buttigieg, Harris. That's the only reason he would win this. Buttigieg, he's getting flashbacks of PTSD to 2020. You know what's going to happen next? South Carolina. This is where the Democrat primaries really won through. Yes, Nevada, Iowa, New Hampshire, they're important. But if you want to win the Democrat primary, this is the big one. The huge primary that Tom Steyer, that's where he put all of his resources into, because even he understood this is a must-win state. If you want to be the Democrat nominee, you have to win the state of South Carolina. You just have to. If you don't, it's over. You have no shot, because this is where a big chunk of the Democrat vote is. Black voters. And all three of these candidates, they're going to do putrid with black voters. But unironically, this is kind of funny. I think Harris would do the best of the worst. Does this remind you of something? Yes. It reminds me exactly of what happened in the frickin' 2020 primary. Newsom and Buttigieg would barely get over the hump, but I think the vast majority of the delegates would go to Harris. And just like that, Harris would be in the front, it would be the leader in delegates after the first 4 states. You see why, even if you lose the first 3 states, you could pull it off in a primary. South Carolina, even for Republican primaries, it's a winner-take-all state. It's a critical one for the Republican primary. But Democrats, it's also probably the most important primary of the first 4. And you gotta hear, folks, I think at the end of the first 4, you would see Newsom and Buttigieg roughly even, while Harris has a slight lead. I think Clyburn is going to endorse Harris before the Carolina primary. Essentially the same thing that happened in 2020. Yeah, I think it's going to be kind of similar to what happened in 2020. Harris sucks in the first 2 states, aka Biden. He does okay in Nevada, better than expected. Then she blows it out of the water. Funny. Out of the water in the state of South Carolina. Now, the question is this. Would there still be a pathway for Newsom and Buttigieg? Yes. But with Super Tuesday, I don't know exactly what states are going to be in it. I can't predict it. But there is still a realistic path for the other 2. Harris doesn't have this in the bag yet. I think it's likely that she gets the nomination. But there's been a lot of states like the big one, California. That may be the state that Newsom needs to really pull ahead of Harrison. In California, Texas. It's going to be a fascinating primary. But who knows? This may not even happen. That's why this is considered a baseline. We're going to do this every couple months or so. Updates, on how everything's going and all that good stuff. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the Twitter account in the description down below, and join the channel today. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Godspeed to all of you.